Today is International Women's Day, and I wanted to share with you an excerpt from a play that I wrote that celebrates the life of the formidable Alice Hawkins, our very own Leicester Suffragette, shoe machinist and mother of 6. A mass demonstration was in the making and I was chosen to tour the country to raise much needed funds. This was the biggest event that we'd ever done. Sashes, badges, brooches and banners were made in preparation for this great event. 30 trains were put on, bringing women from the 4 corners of the country. The day arrived. Sunday, the 21st of June. There were 30,000 women gathered on Victoria Embankment in London. 700 banners carried representing the different women's organisations. There were not many of us from the Leicester branch, and I was disappointed. Disappointed that they were not walking with me, as I'd worked hard in recruiting so many women from the factory gates. But for them, the order to wear a white dress and a fancy hat is something that they could ill afford. I felt a great sense of pride representing my sisters of freedom. Although my foot soldiers were not with me in body, I carried their spirit on the sole of my shoes, and every step I took for them. Hyde Park was spectacular. There must have been 250,000 people gathered. There were 20 raised platforms, 80 speakers, Keir Hardie, Bernard Shaw, Mrs. Pankhurst and me. My heart was beating so loud I barely heard my name called. Next to take the stand on platform number 5 is Mrs. Alice Hawkins from the Leicester branch of the WSPU. I stood for a moment and I looked out at the sea of white dresses. There was not a blade of grass between them. It took my breath away. In anticipation, they waited for me to speak. It felt like a lifetime. As I began to speak, I could feel this force rising up from the tip of my toes to the top of my head, like an electric current causing my whole being to tingle. Listen up, sisters and brothers. I am not happy with being constantly told that I do not count, that what I have to say is meaningless, and that my opinions and actions are purely emotional and are driven by erratic and irrational behaviour. I have a voice, and I will use it. I am not satisfied with being in the shadows or being the doormat on which society wipe their feet. I have a voice, and I will use it. I am a taxpayer who contributes to the upkeep of this country, so why should I not have a voice? Don't stand on the sidelines. Jump in with both stocking feet. We must fight for freedom. We must fight for liberation, liberation from those chains that have bound us all for far too long. I have a voice, and I will use it. The question is, will you use yours?